Welcome to Nottingham, a town that throughout history has been famous for its sportsmen and its outlaws. And as we're finding out, in the modern age, it's no different. 1,300 athletes are here to compete in and hopefully complete this ultimate triathlon challenge. There's a weekend of sport on offer here, starting on the Saturday with the swim shop Big Swim Nottingham, an event which features members of the elite GB triathlon team. But of course, the main event here is the Outlaw Triathlon, starting with a 2.4-mile swim here in the Regatta Lake at the National Water Sports Centre, followed by 112 miles on the bike out around the county, before heading back into transition to get the running shoes on and complete a 26.2-mile marathon that first circuits the lake before heading out following the course of the River Trent, taking in some of the city's most historic sporting sites along the way, before heading back to a very warm and well-deserved welcome here at the finish line. And for the competitors, it's at that point that they've earned the right to call themselves an outlaw. Well, I'm here with former international triathlete Annie Emerson. Annie, great to have you company this weekend.
Thank you.
Glorious conditions for this event, and the distances, they are quite long, but with the right kind of training, it's not insane, is it?
It's certainly not insane. A lot of people that are here will have moved up from, like, say, Olympic distance, sprint distance, and yeah, the distances are long, but as you said, with the right training, it's manageable.
But for people watching who want to get involved in the sport, how can they go about it? How difficult is it to start doing this?
Well, I would always say, start down at the bottom, get together with a group of people, a triathlon club, and just, surround yourself with people that do the sport, learn a lot more, start off way down there with sprint distance and then gradually move up to the longer distances. That said, there are a couple of guys racing tomorrow that actually haven't raced shorter distances and they're going straight in at the deep end.
There's an awful lot of kit being wheeled around in the transition area over there, Annie. Some of those bikes, hugely expensive, I'm guessing, but you don't need to spend a lot, do you?
No, some of those bikes cost up to around £10,000, which is quite scary, isn't it? But you really don't have to spend that amount of money. You can spend a couple of £100 and have a really decent bike. The one thing I would say is get yourself really measured up. That, for me, is key. It's not spending huge amounts of money, but it's making sure that the bike fits you.
And then, moving on from that, presumably you just need a good pair of running shoes and a wetsuit for the swim to start things off.
Yeah, and again, the wetsuit, you can go to a local supermarket and you'll find a wetsuit in there. But again, a bit like the bike, the most important thing is not the amount of money that you spend, but making sure that it fits you, because there's nothing worse than swimming 3.8k with a load of water in your wetsuit. And
it really is an aspirational event as well. All the finishers, all the outlaws who make it across that finish line tomorrow night, they really deserve to be called so. It's a medal worth keeping.
Wow, it is amazing. It's such an incredible challenge to have achieved, and we see it time and time again. People with so many different stories, coming across the line, having completed a long distance triathlon, and I think it's life-changing.
Thanks very much, Annie. We'll see you out on the course. Time though now to hand over to Patrick Winterton, your race commentator, as we go and meet the Outlaws.
Well, the first people to see action today are those going for the single swim. We've got the likes of Adam Bowden and Aaron Harris in action. Lucy Hall won't be racing today. She's got a niggle. We think it's her ankle that's injured. But we will see some other big triathletes in action, a swim only, which is a great opportunity for those who probably wanted to do the Outlaw but have picked up injuries and just go through the swim. 3,000 metres, it won't take them much longer than 30 minutes, the top performers. And a beautiful venue for this sort of an event. Rowing, of course, the #1 sport here, and home pier point, the Whitewater Centre, just at the end of the lake. The perfectly flat water, ideal, and Adam Bowden producing a very impressive swim indeed. Nice to see him in action.
It's good to get a good workout over that sort of distance, because obviously we used to just swim in 1,500 metres, so that's a bit further, but no, I'm very happy.
So Bowden in good shape, and most of the athletes for tomorrow's event, the Outlaw, turning up nice and early to get their bikes ready, all the equipment ready. Vicky Gill, certainly one of the women that could do some damage tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to the race, and I think it's hard to know because I don't really know everybody in the field. And I think with long distance triathlon, it's a lot about you sticking to your own race plan and racing yourself as opposed to other people. So that's what I'll be thinking about tomorrow.
Well, as a former elite track athlete, Vicky will certainly be looking forward to the marathon, the third discipline. Kate McNeil, on the other hand, is certainly going to play her trump card on the bike ride.
A lot of talk about your strong bike, and that's the part of the triathlon where you're really going to make up some good time on the other girls.
I'd like to hope so. Unfortunately, my run's not quite as strong, so I always try and get a bit of a head start. So all going well tomorrow, I'd like that to be the case. Not too fast, because then I won't get around the run in one piece, that's for sure. So it's going to be a pacing strategy all the way through.
Kevin Dawson's been attracting a lot of attention, a split of 4:28.33 last year on the bike in a relay team. This year, he goes the whole way alone.
I've won a few national championships on the bike, and triathlon's just to change the direction that I've took over the last couple of years, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I did a couple of halves last year, and this is my first long distance, full long distance triathlon.
Well, we'll see how Kevin gets on. He'll certainly be going for the win here in Nottingham, but he'll be up against more balanced and more experienced triathletes.
What is it about the Outlaw that brings you back year after year?
It's a wonderful course. It's really well organised. It's accessible as well to majority of people set here in Nottingham. Fantastic boating lake that we've got to swim in, and then the bike takes you up into the country roads in North Nottinghamshire up to Southall. Some very picturesque, beautiful villages, and it's relatively flat as well. So all guys who perhaps looking for a PB at this distance, it's the ideal event to do.
So Grant has 3 Outlaws under his belt already. There are plenty here who have none, some who haven't even completed a triathlon. Dave Akers is one of them, and at 18 stone, the roads are going to take a bit of a pounding.
How's your training been going, and do you think you're ready for this race?
Training's been going really well. I've done quite a lot of biking. Swimming, I'm hoping to get by on 30 years of experience, and the run I'm going to do any way I can. Probably going to be walking vast proportion of it.
Now let's talk a little bit about your bike. Having a look around the transition area, there's a lot of very expensive bikes, but your bike cost you just £200.
That's right. I got the cheapest bike that I could find to do some training. I did want to buy a carbon bike, but I was told that I was too heavy. So I'm out here today on my training bike.
For most, once in a lifetime is plenty, but for Gary Gocher, the policeman, well, he just can't stay away.
What is it that makes you come back every year?
I've done several in the past few years across the world, actually, but this race, the location that you have, the facilities we have here, the support, you're made to feel one of a big team. And it doesn't matter whether you're an elite triathlete or a novice, they want you to come back and they want to involve you.
Well, just in case that you thought triathlon was all about gold medal glory and glamour, here at the grassroots of the sport, many of the competitors will be sleeping on top of those grassroots themselves, well, more or less. A short night under canvas then before the crack of dawn and the blast of the starter's air horn early tomorrow morning.
So, after many months of training and maybe possibly years of thinking of this event, it is the moment of truth, and the atmosphere building minute by minute as the sun comes up over the horizon.
First time outlaw, yeah, second iron distance, so yeah, hopefully it'll be a good day. Very hot, but yeah.
What time are you going for?
I just want to finish, to be honest, in this heat. I'm just hoping to finish.
And I've been waiting 4 years to do it, so I eventually clocked up the courage today.
But is this your first race at this distance?
Yes, it is, yeah. So it's quite daunting.
Absolutely petrified, terrified, completely nervous. I just can't even describe how I'm feeling.
All this is swim, bike, run. It's not a big deal. It's a long day's training.
A long day's training, but it's more than the average person swims, bikes or runs in a year.
This looks interesting. Jelly babies on the bike.
Yes. Yeah, high nutrition, easy to take down. Don't usually give you any stomach cramps or anything like that. And it's better than trying to fiddle with gels and things like that, getting all your hands sticky and that sort of thing. So that's what I use, yeah.
Everyone has their own way of doing it.
Lots of other people seem to have lots of energy gels. I want to be part of that. So I have 4 here, about another 18 in here, maybe a couple back here. I should be all right.
We've just seen a man who's just said no to gels, and he's gone straight for the jelly babies.
Wow, he's a bigger man than me.
With the heat already building before 6 o'clock, the hydration is going to be another major factor.
Weather's great and I'm ready for the show. So, wish me luck.
How are you feeling this morning of the race?
I'm feeling fine. All the preparation's done, or all that's going to be done is done, so all we can do is just get on with it.
Are you looking forward to it?
I'll let you know at the end. Yeah, I am. In some strange way.
Well, we're just moments away from the off here in Nottingham, and I tell you what, you can feel the excitement in the air. With all of the competitors setting off at the same time, it's going to make for an awesome spectacle. So it's high time that we hand you over to Patrick Winterton, your race commentator.
Over 1,000 athletes ready to go on what for many will be the biggest challenge of their lives. The distances are massive, and it is the hottest day of the year so far. Here we go. Applause all round, and I think one of the kayakers getting slightly caught out there as they start down the rowing course. Remember, 2.4 miles, 3.8 kilometres the distance to be swum. And you will find it hard to believe how quick those up front start and maintain their pace throughout. Really impressive stuff. And of course, absolutely vital to get a decent swim. Not as important perhaps as in the Olympic distance races to be in the front group, as it's a non-drafting bike ride today. A good swim can always set you up for a good race, but there are plenty of those amongst the favourites who will be slow in the water and having to catch up later on.
There's a lot of people here that are probably in the same boat as me, and yeah, it's probably a little bit of nerves, but yeah, I'm excited for just a different challenge really. It'll be a good day out.
Well, as well as individuals, we have relay teams competing today. 3 members, obviously, 1 doing each discipline. And the leading man, Grant Quigley, is in a relay team. No surprise to see him out front. He's an international swimmer, along with his sister Lauren. An outstanding performance on schedule for just over 40 minutes. Vicky Gill will be struggling to match that.
I think psychologically it's tougher than it physically will be, because we should be able to sight and stay straight pretty well, so we shouldn't swim much further than the race distance, which always slows you down, but psychologically kind of having an almost 2k swim out and back is going to be quite tough. So I just focus on what I'm doing at that time, buoy to buoy, and then thinking about the bike and the run really.
Well, there's no doubt that Vicky Gill's swimming has improved since she switched from athletics, and don't be surprised to see her doing well. But here's someone else who's done exceptionally well. Grant Quigley out of the water, the specialist 1,500 metre swimmer, about to hand over to Sam Brown, who takes the second leg for Team Triathlon Direct. And he's going to have a healthy lead to take into the 112-mile bike ride. Karen Green Foundation being supported by mixed team today. And they'll be expecting to finish in the top 3. And out comes one of the Army Triathlon Association athletes, James Beachy. Very good swim he's had. Could well be the first individual out onto the roads if he gets through T1 unscathed. Transition's obviously not quite as important as in the shorter races, but it still doesn't help to waste time. Matt Foston heading out for mixed team, and in second place at the moment, closely followed by Helen Gorman, who's now out of the water for the Cancer Research UK team, and Lucy Gossage taking the bike ride for them, and she's very handy on a bike indeed. Sadly, Chrissy Howard, who was going to race, is injured, and so they've had a replacement for the final leg. Now this man's going the whole way himself, James Beachy, for the Army Triathlon Association. Plenty of armed forces competitors here, and lots of them also volunteering to help out on the course. You saw the RAF men helping all the swimmers out of the water, and it's a steady start on the bike for James Beachy. Well, not a bad plan to work your way into the cycle ride, but he's going to have to push a bit harder than this if he wants to hold on to a top position, because there really are some very, very talented cyclists in the field today. So the leading competitors still coming out of the water, and all these men with a very good chance of finishing in the top 3 today. Eugene Grant is certainly one of them, but he's got a poor history here in Nottingham. Mechanicals, illness, injury have all affected him in the past. We'll see how he goes today. Will it be fourth time lucky? The masses now heading for the exit of the swim, and the RAF are going to get very, very busy. Big Dave Akers is on his way, and a very respectable swim time indeed.
66 minutes, that's not bad, not bad.
And with a nice little group of swimmers, and they kind of pulled you along, you pulled them along.
That's right, yeah, it was a bit of a battle at the start. There was a lot of bumping at the start, but yeah, it was good fun.
Nice swim.
Lovely, thank you. Yes, best bit of the day, I think.
I'm not sure Kevin Dawson is going to feel the same way. He's yet to emerge out of the water, and most of the favourites in the men's field are long gone from T1. And even Vassos Alexander, Chris Evans' sporting sidekick on Radio 2, is into T1.
How are you finding it?
Brilliant, what a lovely swim. Lovely
You
morning.
stormed that swim. Are you sure you've done it? Because you're looking a bit dry.
I really have done it. But no, it's lovely.
I think the Brownlees have spurred you on because we heard you had a good chat with them yesterday.
Ali Brownlee gave us a call on the show yesterday, which was great. This is my first triathlon. Bit of a bike ride, bit of a run to go.
Well, here is Kevin Dawson. A brief wave to the camera. He hasn't got any time to waste talking at this stage, because this is where he comes into his own. A time of 4:28 last year on the bike ride, but his swim, which has taken him 1 hour 15, puts him 22 minutes behind the race leader. Can he make that up over the next 112 miles?
Well, after what has been a long swim, getting on the bike must be a relief for some. But of course, it's just the start of the next chapter in this epic adventure. Join us after the break as the race unfolds. Welcome back to Nottingham and the Outlaw Triathlon. After the 2.4-mile swim, the bike leaders are well out onto the course. But have they managed to keep those hard-won advantages? Let's rejoin your race commentator, Patrick Winterton.
Well, James Beechey still has the lead, but it's short-lived, because coming up behind him is a man who was in Kona last year and produced a time of 9:46, Daniel McParlin. He's already taken 4 minutes out of Beechey on the bike ride, and he goes past him with ease. Well, he achieved his dream last year in Kona. Now it is all about producing a PB. Will he beat 9:46? The leading woman, Vicky Gill. Good solid swim from her, 1:03.44. She'll be happy with that. And I hope Joe Beer, her coach, is happy with her position on the bike. They've been working on the aerodynamics. Here's Ben Webeck, who moved from Australia to UK. And he's about to be overtaken by Eugene Grant. Grant going very nicely indeed. Good work so far from him.
And the bike, I can imagine, sort of initially be nice and comfortable, but then as the heat builds during the day, it'll become more of an issue. But then the run's going to be hard. I mean, from 12 o'clock onwards, I think the forecast really high temperatures, and that's when most guys are going to be out there, and it's going to be brutal.
Grant moving up into the podium positions. This man is approaching them as well. Kevin Dawson, have a look at the cadence that he's cycling with. He's kept this going from the very start. About to overtake James Beechey, who was the first man out of the water. Beechey will not believe what he's seeing. He's made up 22 minutes on Beechey already. He started 18 minutes down on McParland, and he's cut that to 16:12. He is flying.
Well, with 112 miles to go here in the saddle, you're going to need all the support you can get. And just as the bikes come out of transition and set off on the route, this is a great spot for family and friends, Annie.
Oh, it's amazing. The support that these guys are getting is going to really help them. And I tell you what, they're going to need it today.
Well, they are going to need it. What are they feeling at this point? You've just done the swim, it's arms and legs, then you get on the bike, get in the saddle, it's a whole set of muscles moving differently.
Well, I think a lot of them are sort of like quite euphoric, having completed the 3.8k swim, but now they'll be focused and starting to think about the 180k bike ride, and also getting some fuel on board, eating a bit of food, eating an energy bar, taking some drink on is really important at the start.
Yeah, seeing a lot of the guys on the bikes there, they're loaded up with fuel and energy bars taped to the crossbar.
Yeah, it's been fascinating walking around transition. We've seen everything from malt loaves to jelly babies to peanut butter sandwiches, everything. But, these guys are going to need it. They're going to be out there for hours.
Do you think they're getting involved in kind of like, personal battles with the guy ahead, or they've got their clock on the handlebars and they're thinking, no, this is my game plan, I'm going to stick to it?
I think that's a great thing about racing, races like this. They will be surrounded surrounded by people, and that's going to really spur you on and motivate you. You often see it in these long distance races where you kind of hook up with someone that you don't know and you make a new friend, and you'll work together throughout the race to get through it.
Annie, thanks ever so much. I think you're out onto the course. Time then for us to rejoin Patrick Winterton.
Well, it's a baking hot day, but the man who's hot on the bike at the moment is Kevin Dawson, as expected, closing in now on Ben Webeck. And Dawson showing us really why he's been the 11 times overall time trial champion in Britain. Absolutely superb performance. Up into 4th position. No fight from Webeck. It's a non-drafting race, remember, so you have to stay at least 10 metres behind the man in front. And he's now cut the margin to 12:42. That's another 3.5 minutes that he's taken off McParland, the leader, and he's gaining just over 10 seconds per mile. He is on course to lead by the end of the bike ride.
Smash bike like I normally do. So, I mean, that's where I'm going to make up any time. So I'll make most of my biking. I mean, as I say, I think I've got some good bike legs for. So we'll just see how I go on the day, basically.
Eugene Grant in 2nd place behind McParland and pushing a steady pace at the moment.
And you've got Kevin Dawson behind you. Yeah, I'm waiting for him to come back. Whirlwind. Still a long way to go. Can you hold him off? I don't know about that, we'll see, I'll do my best. Watch this hurricane coming past me.
Well, it's going to be a very tough job to hold off Dawson when and if he catches him. 3rd place at the moment, Chris Walker, the long-legged, high-seated figure who's about to be subjected to that tornado that is Kevin Dawson. Here he comes. And absolutely no response from Walker whatsoever. There is no point. He could not stay with this pace. From 18 minutes, he's got the margin down to 7. There is no doubt that he is the fastest man on the bike course at the moment. And the fastest woman actually is Lucy Gossage here, racing in the cancer research team, so only doing the bike leg, but she's pushing a good pace, and she'll be enjoying the fact that there are 1 or 2 men on the course that she's chasing down. Great work from her. Vicky Gill is the women's individual leader, just over the hour mark for her time in the water, and she'll be trying to save something for the marathon at the end.
Just from being a track athlete, you're always kind of got an eye on everyone around you. But in the long distance, I've learned that it's more about focusing on your own race. You've no idea what anyone else is doing. You can't control what they're doing. So it's just focusing on your own race, the pace that you need to go, how hard you're working, and your nutrition, and hopefully it'll all come together with a good time.
Behind Vicky Gill is Catherine Benger, a woman on her 4th long-distance triathlon. She's done Bolton, Cairns, Kona. Not bad for a woman who was into horses and fashion as a kid. Kate McNeil, who was always going to be strong on the bike, pushing well, needs to make up a bit of time. And now in 3rd position in the women's event. Well, the volunteers and, of course, the spectators playing a huge part in today's race. Without the spectators, there's no atmosphere. Without the volunteers, there's no race. And without fluid, they're going nowhere.
Guys need the water and they need the juice to keep them through, and a smile helps them. We've all been there, so we're doing our best for them. But it's good.
We're now getting towards the halfway marker in the race, and things haven't all been going smoothly for the radio sports reporter Vassos Alexander.
Had a puncture, no good. My chain's come off, got a cut, but you know, I'm persevering.
You look okay.
I'm all right.
You're nearly halfway. How does that feel? Good, bad?
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Enjoyed the swim. This is tough. This is tough with these shorts on. I see why everyone's wearing lycra now.
Get them off. Get them off. We'll take them home for you.
Dan McParland had his fair share of the lead, but the inevitable has happened, having overtaken Webeck, Walker, Grant. Kevin Dawson has now blasted his way past Dan McParland, and he is the leader in the men's race, and it's now just a question of how much time he can put between himself and the runners like Grant and McParland before they start that final leg. Remember, it is a marathon distance, 26.2 miles, 42 kilometres. It hurts whichever way you look at it. Water needed, and judging by the fact that he's discarding 2 bottles, I think that indicates that he's been consuming rather a lot in the last few miles. He's got the first, missed the second. Now that's unusual because there's more water further up the road, but Kevin Dawson doesn't want to take any risks whatsoever. He knows that competing or completing the bike ride and then going on to complete the marathon depend on staying hydrated. You only have to get 2% dehydration before your performance drops away dramatically. Now here's a man who's really going to struggle with hydration levels, dressed like this. This is Sid, who's raising money for the Poppy Fields appeal. And a huge amount of money raised for charity throughout the day. And the fans, so important. Families, friends are all here.
This is his first time doing a full Ironman. So have you got a message for your daddy?
Yeah.
What's that?
Keep calm and relax.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that's fairly good advice for all the athletes out here because pacing is so important. It's easy to get excited when you've got so many fans on the side of the road, and particularly when you go past your own group of fans, you push the pace just that little bit too hard. Has Dawson paced it right? We'll find out in the next 3 hours or so because he's coming into T2. The 112 miles on the bike is just about completed. A fantastic effort, but has he got anything left for the marathon?
Do a fair few brick sessions and double bricks and triple bricks and all sorts of things. You know what I mean? Just trying to get used to that transition from bike to run really. And it's I mean I do run better off at bike than I do before. So it's probably a good thing for me that I'm doing a bike before the run line.
Those brick sessions, training from biking to running, just to get the legs used to the switch, and he's got to have done plenty of them to get it right. Now last year 4:28.33 on the bike, 4:28.44 this year, so you could argue he hasn't saved a lot for the marathon. Here he goes, Dawson out on the roads. He'll just shuffle for a while the blood flows into the running muscles, and then hopefully he'll start to flow nicely around the lake to start with, and then they set off on the River Trent towpath, which is also pretty flat, so quick times expected. And Dawson needs to run his own race and not worry too much about the men behind him. Second place, Daniel McParland, who held the top spot on the bike for so long, already looking pretty light on his feet. That's a bouncy style that he's got. McParland, of course, much more experienced than Dawson over the long distance. 6:35 the deficit. Remember, he had an advantage of 18 minutes at T1. Things have switched. Will they turn again? Here comes Vicky Gill, the leading woman, who's had a very good bike ride, which backs up an impressive swim, and now she goes to her favourite discipline, the run. Well, it doesn't matter how well you run, you have to have saved something. Remember, they'll be out on the road for certainly over 3 hours. For some, it will be closer to 4. Water, food, some to drink, some to cool the body. Now, when you do get dehydrated, your body temperature goes up, your pulse rate goes up, your perceived work rate goes up. All in all, it results in a slower performance. Familiar calves of Kevin Dawson, and the stride, by my reckoning, has already shortened a little bit. Not too much foot lift. Some would say it's a nice economic style. Just needs to use the same cadence as he had on the bike. Well, this is great service. Factor 50 being plied on the neck and arms and back of the athletes as they prepare for the final leg.
What's your game plan for the run in this heat?
Survive. Yeah.
2/3 of the way through, how are you feeling?
Oh, pretty tired and hot, but the run's my best bit, so hopefully it'll come together.
The last little bit is a marathon. That is a huge event in itself.
Take it a couple of miles at a time, one feed station to the next, and hopefully I'll finish before it gets dark.
For so many, this is all about finishing and becoming an outlaw. But there are still plenty of men out there and women who are competing for victory. Eugene Grant is one of them. Dawson McParland ahead of him. Webeck now behind him. And he sits comfortably in 3rd place. He's certainly capable of a 3-hour 20 run. And if he can do that, he may well take the top prize today. But to do that, he's got to catch this man, McParland, who started 6.5 minutes behind Dawson on the run, and he's cut the margin significantly. 2 minutes 11. Now the deficit. Well, he may have lost a lot of time, but he still has that 2 minutes advantage. And if Dawson can find a second wind, he might just hold on to the finish and take the top prize.
Well, the race is in full swing here in Nottingham, and after a respectable time on the swim, Kevin Dawson has absolutely stormed it on the bike as expected. But can he now hold on for the whole of the marathon? Join us after the break to find out. Welcome back to Nottingham and the Outlaw Triathlon, where here in Transition 2 things are starting to get very busy as literally hundreds of riders are dropping off their bikes, refuelling and getting set to go out on a run, which in some cases they will have been preparing for years. So let's go rejoin the action.
All the action happening up the front of the field. Daniel McParland trying to close the gap on Kevin Dawson, and he's pretty much got him in his sights now. Around the top end of the boating lake, and with multiple laps they get plenty of opportunities to see exactly where they lie. McParland now knows that he is going to be the race leader in just a few seconds time, because he's moving significantly faster than Kevin Dawson. Will they exchange words? Not a chance. Not a chance. McParland did not move his head one little bit, just staying totally focused on the job in hand. But I can tell you what, his emotions will have changed, because he has gone from being the hunter to being the hunted. He doesn't need to worry about Dawson, but he certainly needs to worry about Grant and Webeck, who are both running pretty well behind him. And he's been getting splits on both of those two all the way around the run so far. McParland still looking fairly fluent. In the women's race, Vicky Gill looks to have lost some of the spring that she had in the early stages, and these are going to be painful times for her.
An Ironman run is so different to any other run I've ever done in my whole life. You just kind of start the run fatigued to start with, so it's just about keeping your form as well as you can and not slowing down and just maintaining pace. You hardly ever speed up during the run, but you can easily slow down and lose a lot of time.
Well, Gill can't afford to slow down because Benga behind her, 15 minutes the margin. It does mean she's got an awful lot of work to do, but if Gill hits the wall, Benga surely will pounce. Shorter stride, nice high tempo. Of course, Benga, the partner of Webeck, who's also out on the course and doing well. He'll be fighting to contend with this man, McParland, who is the current race leader. Here's Eugene Grant, who's gone into second place ahead of Dawson. Well, he's looking very fresh indeed. I know he's throwing the water over his head and down his neck, but still looks to be moving well. Grant, one of those frustratingly good athletes who can turn his hand to anything. Very good team sports player until he went to New Zealand and discovered the joys of multi-sport events. And ever since then, triathlon has been his thing. Here comes McParland now. Definitely a change in his body language. Desperate to get the fluid on board and once again trying to bring the body temperature down. But this looks like a man who's hit a wall the size of the Iron Curtain. 3 for the head and 1 for the mouth. I get bad vibes for McParland at the moment. Kevin Dawson still in third place, but you can just see the blue-suited Webeck behind him, who's moving very well and is about to give Dawson a bit of his own medicine. Webeck looking fantastic. Just about to go into third position, and with McParland suffering up front, Grant still moving okay, but Webeck is moving better and certainly now has to be considered as a possible winner here at Nottingham. The masses keep ploughing on. You don't do a 9, 10, 11, 12-hour race without suffering at some stage. Dave Akers, we hear, has called it a day, had enough, the heat too much. Others are going to keep going, and the more unpleasant it is, the longer they'll remember the day out.
How have you gone today?
Yeah, getting there, doing not too bad. 10 miles to go. Feeling all right. A bit warm though.
Just so hot, isn't it? But it's all right. They're doing a grand job on the drink stations, aren't they? They're brilliant.
So hot, it's unbelievable. Just pulling all the strength out of me.
Well, how many of these athletes were prepared for a day like this? How many times have you seen sprinklers at events in Great Britain? Not very often. Time well spent, I suspect, for number 132.
What does it feel like in there?
Horrendous. Very hot, a bit like a sauna, which is something you need on a day like today.
Brilliant, very well done. Good luck to you at the finish.
Thanks very much, cheers pal.
Sid keeps ploughing on, and it's the volunteers on the side that are playing such an important role. As they say, a smile goes a long way, and what these runners would give to go where those ducks are going. Eugene Grant will be getting splits, and I think he'll be pretty happy with the way things are going, because he will know he is closing on McParland, who's struggling up front. It was a long time since McParland's body was willing, but I sense that his mind is no longer willing, and with only 3 miles to go, it's an agonising situation.
He's right behind you.
No, he's not. You're right. Got about 30 seconds. How are you feeling?
I'm done. I got nothing left.
Well, all credit to McParland for getting the legs going again, but the pace at the moment is not sufficient to hold off Eugene Grant. And here he comes. And a little bit of acceleration and a pat of consolation on the back of McParland, who is blown away in the space of 50 metres. Grant is lifted by the experience. McParland is destroyed. Now, Grant has to worry about holding on to the lead, because he also knows that Webeck has been moving well, and Webeck is only a couple of 100 metres behind. Here's the women's leader, Vicky Gill, who's been struggling for the last 10-15 minutes. If she goes any slower, the bike guide is going to really be tested on her cycling skills. Agony written across her face. And in contrast, in second place, Benga. Straight into the drink stop, straight out again. No hesitation whatsoever. And the two training partners, Benga and Webeck, are chasing possible victory, both lying in second place at the moment. What's the margin between Grant and Webeck? 31 seconds, just under a mile to go, and it's going to be a desperately close finish here in the Outlaw. 2.4 in the water, 112 miles on the bike, and they've just about completed the 26.2 mile marathon, and still the victory is going to be decided by a matter of seconds. Webeck has got to turn up the pace once again if he wants to win here. Grant surely will be able to hang on.
Am I safe, do you know? How far back is he?
200 metres.
200 metres.
200 metres just about safe, but he can't afford any mistakes. And as Grant approaches the finish, the leading relay team coming in. This is Cancer Research UK. It all started with Helen Gorman, then Lucy Gossage on the bike, and then Del Pitcher, the policeman who was brought in with a week's notice to replace Chrissy Howard. He's put up a fantastic effort, 3:16 for the marathon, to take the top prize in the relay event. The Karen Green Foundation with mixed team coming down the finish now. Daniel Bultby, the man who's done the hard work on the roads, and coming in second place, and fantastic way to celebrate the life and achievements of Karen Green. 3:35 run. Eugene Grant will be a little bit quicker than that on the roads, and he's picked the pace up. Now he's heading for home. He's now looking for his friends and family in the crowd and picking up his kids for the last 100 metres or so. Suddenly the pain has all gone. He knows that victory is in the bag, and it's been an outstanding performance from him. In 2010 his spokes broke, his lungs let him down in 2011, and last year he had a calf injury that put him out of action. This year, however, he has got it down to a T. The perfect performance, strong in all three, and he's going to take the top prize. He is the Outlaw champion for 2013. 9:27.12 on the clock, and the man in second is just a matter of seconds behind. 13, 14, 15 seconds behind Webbeck. An outstanding run, but not quite good enough. Another 200 metres and Webbeck would have taken the title. Well, what a climax to an extraordinary race here.
Just didn't expect this at all. It's just fantastic, and yeah, I'm just delighted.
Just delighted. And I tell you what, that last lap for you said you had the crowd pushing you on, but you also had Ben hot on your heels. He did a storming run race. He was in about 4th or 5th when I last saw him earlier in the marathon.
Yes, he was phenomenal, and he looks like a pure runner as well. You know, I'm just pleased the finish line was here and not 200 yards further down, because I'd have been in trouble then.
A very tired-looking Dan McParlin. All credit to him for keeping going, but he will be wondering where it went wrong. He finishes in 3rd behind Webbeck.
I didn't feel all that good on the bike in places in the run. The 2 laps of the run were really hot, but found a rhythm and got stuck in. So yeah, quite happy. It's a beautiful course, so yeah, can't complain.
So confirmation of the results. Eugene Grant takes the win, 9:27.09. Webbeck just 15 seconds behind. Remember, he threw away 23 seconds in T1 alone. It could have been a very different story. McParlin in 3rd, Philip Eves moving up into 4th. In the women's race, it's all been about Vicky Gill, who's pretty much led from the early stages of the bike ride. A good solid swim to start with. No problems on the bike whatsoever. She went through a bad patch on the run, but she's recovered sufficiently to hold off Benger in 2nd place. And it is Vicky Gill who takes the women's title, 9:51.01. She makes the transition from athletics to triathlon.
I stayed pretty confident all day. The last lap of the lake, I just thought, don't blow it now. So yeah, I think the last lap of the lake, I just dug in and got on with it.
Well, you dug in and got on with it in spectacular fashion. Huge congratulations.
Thank you.
2nd place in the women's, Catherine Benger. She's fought hard on the last phase, and she kept that running pace going right from the start. Just over 10 hours and straight into the arms of her partner Webbeck. Emotional times.
10:35 was my last best effort at the Ironman, so to come inside 10:10, I can't be disappointed.
Well, what about this? Rekha Ravichandran, who only started triathlon in 2010. She's a very strict vegan. 3rd place today.
A great time in really hot conditions.
Yeah, it was a shocker actually. I think the first couple of laps were really tough, and then I realised that if I doused myself in water at every feed station, I could just about get to the next feed station. So that strategy worked a treat. It was great.
The women's race won, of course, by Vicky Gill, 9:50.58 the time, some 18 minutes clear of Catherine Benger. Ravichandran third, Jenny Bosman going into fourth ahead of Helen Munro. And meanwhile, thousands still out there on the course, but as they get closer to the finish, they start to feel better and better.
Next time you come past, you'll be on the finish. How are you feeling?
Looking forward to the finish, mate. Yeah, good.
This crowd, though, helping you along the whole way.
They're stars, superstars, a lot of them. Yeah, love it.
You're on the red carpet, you deserve it. Lap it up.
Cheers, thank you.
1,000 people making it across the finishing line today, and tens of thousands watching and enjoying the spectacle.
How's he done?
Really, really well. Really proud.
Enjoy it, you're there, well done.
But it is very much a family effort. The commitment that the athlete puts in, matched by the support of the other family members.
Tell me about it, how's it been? Oh, wonderful. Now it's over. Come on!
Tears, delight, emotions of all types. Vassos Alexander included.
Vassos, huge congratulations, sir. How was that?
Beyond appalling. But, you know, what an achievement. Here's the thing, forget me, forget everyone who finished, forget the winners, forget the people still out on the course. The real heroes today are the volunteers giving us bananas, pouring water over our heads. They are absolute superstars and impossible to finish without them. It was great.
How did Daddy do? What do you think?
Really well.
Really well. Do you want him to do it again?
Yeah.
Well, here another couple that have wanted to do it again, renewing their wedding vows. Billy and Lena Conlin. Just demonstrating what triathlon means to them. 17 hours, the cut-off time, and still the runners are comfortably inside that. And even the hardiest looking men cannot hide their emotions at the achievements. Richard Pollard, 75 this November, and still he becomes an outlaw.
Everybody around everywhere has been brilliant, really brilliant.
And here comes Sid, who has suffered all day long, and like the rest of the athletes still out there will appreciate the dropping temperatures and the fact that the crowd are still around. And here comes Claire Kearns, the last competitor to finish under that 17-hour marker. 4 minutes to spare.
So the finale to this event has lived up to its reputation once again. It's been a Herculean effort by all of the athletes. How about that for support from everyone who's been here today? You can bet your bottom dollar as well that some of this lot, well, they'll be entering next year. We'd love it if you could join us. So from all of us here in Nottingham, goodbye.